Most DBs who don't get recruited aren't bad players. They're just following advice that was never designed for them to get recruited in the first place. They go to camps, they sign up for recruiting databases, email coaches, post highlights and hope somebody notices. They train harder than everyone around them. But coaches still don't call. And the worst part, no one tells them why. So they just assume they're too small, they're too slow, they're not connected well enough, or the school they go to doesn't get exposure. But most of the time, it's none of that. It's that their film isn't undeniable yet. And I know that because I was you. My name is Brandon Kim. I'm 5'9". I grew up in South Korea most of my life playing ice hockey, and I didn't touch a football until I was 14 in Canada. I didn't play any youth football. I had no connection, no exposure, and no roadmap. Freshman year of high school in Canada was the first time I ever put pads on. And as you know, in Canada, doesn't have as much resources, exposure, and coaches and guidance as America does. And from the get-go, I told myself that I was going to play Division I football, and everyone thought I was delusional. I tried out for Team Ontario, which is similar to an all-star team for our province, because that's where I seen the best players go to. So they go try out for the team, they make the team, and then they travel to the AT&T Stadium every single year to play Team USA. And I thought that was the way to get exposure, but I got cut at the last tryout. My sophomore year, I was buried behind seniors, and coaches told me just work harder, be more physical, just get stronger and faster in the off season. But that's not coaching and that's not development. That's just giving generic advice and cheerleading. Nobody showed me what being elite meant, so I did what most overlooked players do. I chased exposure. I went on camp tours and visits in America. I went to schools like Georgia, Duke, Vandy. I signed up for recruiting services, emailed all these coaches, and nothing changed because I missed something. Recruiting isn't about being seen, it's about being undeniable. My film was just alright. Of course, nobody was going to know who I was, nobody was going to see me and offer me. So I finally started to figure things out for myself. My junior year in Canada, I became cornerback 1. I had a pretty decent season. I won most improved player of the year, and I started getting some buzz. Not generic emails from these schools, not generic camp invites, but real interest from my target schools. Momentum was building, but I knew something. I was playing Canadian football, so different rules with 3 downs, 12 players in the field, motion before every snap on offense. If I wanted to maximize my ceiling, I knew I had to play American football because that's what I wanted to get recruited for, to play football in America. So I was getting interest from all these prep schools down south, so I reclassed to do my junior year again, and it was the first time I ever played American football, and it was a solid season. I continued to build relationships with the schools that I've been talking to before in Canada, and when I went to their camps, I was dominating the year before as an underclassman, so they wanted me to go back to camp, get on their unofficial visits, and really continue to build our relationship. And I had everything lining up until COVID hit. All the recruiting momentum that I had built, it was gone overnight. I had to go back to South Korea because my prep school was a boarding school, and plus that, my entire senior season got canceled. So from January of 2020 all the way until the start of the school year, I was in Korea. Couldn't go to any camps, I couldn't go to any visits these schools invited me to, I couldn't do any of that. I was on the whole another side of the globe. My entire senior season got canceled. The only film I had for my senior season was just 7-on-7 clips of us practicing against each other in jerseys and helmets. That's it. So no visits, no camps, and I even had Division I schools reaching out to me asking me to record a virtual combine so they could see my 40, my height, my weight, my wingspan, see how I move in their drills. Eventually, Tulane offered me a preferred walk-on spot, so I had no guarantees of scholarships. I couldn't even visit the school still because of COVID, but I committed anyways. Our freshman year, I only played in 1 game. We went 2-10, 2 wins, 10 losses. My sophomore year, I only played in 1 game again. At that time, we went 12-2. We won the conference championship. We won the Cotton Bowl against Caleb Williams and USC, and it was one of the biggest turnarounds of college football history. My junior year, I only got to play in 1 game again. We still went to the conference championship, but we didn't win it this time. So in total, 3 years, I only played in 3 games. And in between those seasons, I was the hardest worker in the room. Everyone knew that in the building. All the coaches would always say that. But here's the thing, hard work is common. Everyone's talented, everyone's gifted at the next level. But what was missing was the detail. The precision was not. Not a lot of people really were fine-tuning the small details and paying attention to the small things. So that's when I changed the question to not why I'm not playing, but how do I become so undeniable so coaches can't overlook me because of my size, how I look, where I'm from, etc. So I started obsessing over the small details, where your foot should land and press, the angles of your kicks, where your eyes should be, how much of your leverage you should have, the hip transitions, the route recognitions, pre-snap, everything that you could think of, the small details with the technique. I wanted to be a technician. I wanted to be the most detailed guy possible. So when I use this, I can leverage this and I could be the best player I could possibly be. And when I say I wanted elite technique, I wanted elite technique. And eventually, everyone knew I was the hardest worker and I had the best technique. Even the DB coach at Tulane and the defensive coordinator, everyone was saying I had the best technique in the room. And how do I define elite? I define elite by performing your technique and assignment consistently under speed, pressure, and fatigue, not just flashing in your best reps. Once I understood said that, that's when everything changed. In the off season, we had something called the Gauntlet, which is just match drills going 1v1 against everyone every single day. And I was matched up with NFL level talent, guys who played in the league eventually. And I tied for first place there in all of the skill positions. And because of the respect I garnered with my attention to details, my hard work, all my teammates started asking for help. And then starters, and then all conference players, and then eventually NFL draft picks. And so now I've trained an NFL first round draft pick, multiple NFL selections across the board. I've trained Power 5 starters nationwide. But the difference I realized was never talent, it was structure. And that's what most DBs are missing. So why aren't you getting recruited? 9 times out of 10, it comes out to these 3 things. Not politics, not favoritism, not no, because they don't like me. 3 pillars, and if one of them is weak, your film exposes it immediately. So right here, taking a look at this. Pillar 1, your technique isn't at a Division 1 level standard. And when I say elite technique, remember, elite means precision under speed, pressure, and fatigue right here. So if you're not getting playing time, if coaches aren't calling you, that means there's something wrong on your film. And that doesn't mean you're bad. I mean, there are specific small mechanical details that a college coach sees immediately. So let's talk about this with press right here. So press, when we go into press, there are specific different toolboxes, what angle your foot should be, your lead foot, what does it do, what foot you should pier step with. You know, there's these different techniques right here, right? The inching technique, motor technique, pier step. And we got to be able to mix the toolboxes. So with the quick jam, with the jump jam, with the fake jam, right? There's different situational use for this. And with the initial footwork, like I said, if you should shoot with one hand, when you should shoot with 2 hands, etc. So that's when we talk about these different specific techniques in press, and that's just one pillar. Now we go on to more different pillars, and now we see it's off man right here. So what do you do in the off man? How do you know what foot you should be up? How do you read the quarterback step? So in off man, working on your back pedal, making sure it's smooth, making sure you have the right mechanics that's helping you and not hurting you. You gotta know what foot you should have up and off man, your leverage, how you should get your leverage by. You should know how to flip your hips efficiently, what small footwork tweaks that's gonna make you be well in that. Also in off man, catch technique and zone drops, your landmark for zone, where your eyes should be, what you're looking for. All that stuff applies in off man. And right here, you see right here, there's breaks. Now breaks get even deeper. There's crossover breaks, there's back pedal breaks, specific break mechanics that will help you play faster without actually running faster. So whether that's stepping in the bucket, gaining ground, make sure your pointed toe is right, make sure your shin angle's right, your chin is tucked, how your arm should be out of break, where your eyes should go. All these little things that's gonna add up to your technique. Now we go right here, tackling. There's different types of tackling, different situationals for each use, right? So whether that's a sideline pursuit, how to get the right angles, what pursuit angle you should go, same foot, same shoulders, how do you track this? There's these different styles with the wrap and roll, they're just straight driving for 5. Different ways you could do, be more physical, right? And same with getting off blocks. How do you get off these blocks? How do you do this and that, right? So there's so much different technical small things you can work on for your film to stand out. And the final thing right here, we got ball skills. So when to lean and locate, when to go chest to chest, how do you track the ball once it's in the air? Difference between average and elite DBs is the playmaking skills, the takeaways, how many picks you get. You know, everyone can get PBUs, everyone can get catch hits, but the great ones change the game. And how do you do that? It's by causing takeaways. So picks, forced fumble, fumble recovery, taking them to the crib, whatever you can, finishing skills. And all of these are frame by frame evaluations. And here's a reality that most high school players don't hear. I'm sure your high school coach is great. You know, he's a nice guy and nice coach. But here's a reality. He is stuck in institutional politics. He has 50 other players to coach. He doesn't have time to go over your film frame by frame. His job is to win games for the high school team, not be your specific trainer, not break your tape frame by frame. And same thing with these personal coaches. They see the result. They don't really see the mechanics, the small details. So what I mean by that is, let's just say you break fast. They're going to say good break. When the mechanics that you show in that tape might not have been the best. Or with press, when you're on top of a receiver, but you have bad technique. Most trainers just say good. But in different situations, when the game's on the line and you perform these mechanics the same way you did, because practice makes permanent. So whatever you practice is going to show up on tape like that. And in certain situations, the outcome is not going to favor you when you have bad habits for your mechanics. And especially if you're undersized or not the fastest guy like I was, this is going to matter the most for you. Technique is what's going to translate at every single level. And in today's transfer portal era, this matters more than ever. Why would he take a risk and invest in an 18-year-old when in the portal a coach can get the 4th year, the 5th year senior who's been in the college system, who knows how the game goes? College football is in a win now state. Long gone are the times of rebuild. They're trying to win right now. Coaches don't have time to develop these football players on a 4-year project anymore. This is the transfer portal era. They're trying to win now, and they're recruiting guys who know they can impact the game immediately. And roster spots are limited. They want players that can contribute immediately, and size and speed don't do that necessarily. It's a technique that does, because it's translatable at every level. Let's take a look at Jamel right here. So like I said, technique is mechanics that survive against a better athlete. And if you are a great athlete, it's going to enhance your game even more. Before he worked with me, he started with 0 offers his junior year. He had no interest whatsoever. But after we worked on his technique, specifically his breaks, you could see on film how he doesn't step in the bucket now, how he gains ground every time. 1 inch is the difference between a pick, a PBU, and a catch. So once we got his mechanics down, from 0 offers, we now have all these offers. And look at the dates right here. His first offer was January 28th. And then these snowball, because you could see it. About a week later, you got his second offer. And then a couple days later, as you can see here, his third offer, his fourth offer. And then now it's just snowballing in. This is how recruiting game works. And now he's an SEC offer right here. So you can see from 0 offers, you got all these offers now. And this is just the beginning. It's keep gonna coming in. So right now he's standing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 offers from 0 to 8 because of the technique that allowed him to make game-changing plays at the next level. So pillar number 2 right here. Now you see we're going into football IQ. So this is processing that makes you faster than what you actually are. With the pre-snap processing, you see the personnel recognition. There's 11 personnel, 12 personnel, different formations, right? 2x2, 3x1, FSL, FIB, double condensed closet set, bunch, stack, whatever it is. Also knowing the receiver split. Is it a cut split? Is he out wide? Why are they doing that? Down and distance tendencies. Where are you at in the field? Are you a boundary corner? Are you field corner? Are you a free safety or strong safety? Or are you a nickel? Pre-snap processing is what's very important at the next level. And why this is so important is because football schematics is the same at every single level, whether it's high school, college, league. It's the same thing you'll see. These offensive coordinators, they all do the same thing. For example, 12 personnel, pistol formation. It's P and 10. What are they going to do? It's going to be stretch, boot, play action, right? Especially if it's P and 10, it's going to be play action shot, cross country routes right there. Football is the same at every level. Once you know what to look for, you're going to see it. As a boundary corner, receiver lines up on top of the numbers. What routes are you going to get? Glance, go ball, C7. All this stuff is repeatable. This is a cheat sheet. Most DBs don't recognize this when they're young, and they learn it when the rest of the competition are in game with this. Once again, right here, you see post-snap confirmation. So release keys, stem indicators, the quarterback drop, the concept recognition, different concepts, dagger, smash, flood, mesh, all that different type of stuff. And right here, situational leverage awareness, right? So this is even in game. This is 3rd down, 4th down, money down situation. It's 2 minutes. What do you have to do? Where's your help? What's your coverage, landmarks, red zone adjustment, FSL, when they go formation in the boundary, how do we do checks? All this sort of stuff you need to learn. And if you know what you're looking for pre-snap, you're going to play faster. You're not guessing anymore. You're anticipating plays. Guessing means you look sloppy and you look late. Anticipating is you play fast, you play confident, and you start making plays. I'll give you an example. When I was a freshman at Tulane, the playbook when I first got it, it was crazy. It was like a foreign language, rocket science to me. In high school, we had basic, classic cover 3, but when I got to college, cover 3 meant so many different things. Where the blitz came from, what the D-line is doing, what the bandit's doing. When are we checking out of our blitz? There's cover 3 zone, cover 3 match, and cover 3 differs based on the offense's formation. So whether it's a 3x1, whether it's a 2x2, whether it's a stand-up tight end, or it's a slot receiver, the play changes based on that. There was all these different little terms, even basic stuff like mod, meg, mess, all this stuff that was rocket science that I didn't even know what it was coming in from high school. And when I finally did get the opportunities and reps in practice, all I was doing was thinking in my head, what do I have? Oh, they're checking, their motion, check, check, check. My responsibility changes. Now I'm thinking instead of just playing. And because of that, I'm not playing confident, I'm thinking too much, and I can't showcase my skills. That messes with your confidence, that messes with your opportunities to get on the field. And when you're on the field in game, it messes with your opportunity to make these plays that are going to be game-changing plays. And if you can't process fast at the next level, you can't play. Like I said, the era of the transfer portal, we need guys who can get schemes, get these plays fast. Why get an 18-year-old who doesn't know what the playbook is, he thinks it's rocket science, then get the 5th year, 4th year senior who already knows these basic concepts, who knows how the playbook works, who can communicate well on the field and be a leader. So right here, anticipation eliminates hesitation. Let's watch this clip right here. This is one of my D1 guys, Max. After doing our film study, after doing football IQ, he could start seeing plays come based on the receiver split, based on the offense's tendency, the formation. You'll see this, he even got a pick because he saw this play come over and over again. He knew what these plays were, he knew the splits, he knew the timing of the quarterback, and if the receiver was counting his steps or not. And then pillar number 3, we have recruiting execution. So executing a game plan after our development. Most players start backwards. They start with tactics. So what I mean by that is they start spamming coaches' emails, spam their coaches' DMs, post on Twitter, go to all these camp circuits. But I believe in one thing, tape over tactics. If your film isn't undeniable, the tactics won't save you. This is college football. This is a business. Coaches want the best players. If I tell you like a recruiting service, oh, the best time to post is at 3 p.m. and you got to text these coaches at 5 p.m. on Mondays, that's when they're on their phone the least. Just like how they told me during my recruiting process. None of that works because once they see that tape and they see that it's not to their standard, of course they're moving on. The first thing is film optimization. College coaches go through hundreds of tape a week. You maybe have 10 seconds before they move on. So your first 3 clips here has to be college ready. If your highlight doesn't show you big plays, playing fast, being a game changer with great technique, none of this is going to matter. They're just going to scroll past you. And it's not that the plays aren't there, it's that they aren't presented the right way, right? So with position specific sequencing, so a lot of players, what they do wrong is they have the tape in the wrong order. We want them to be organized efficiently so it best showcases your ability. We also don't want our film to be 5 minutes long. We want it to be clean edits, no dead space in between plays. So no long space before a play starts, no long space until the play ends. Coaches don't have time to sit around waiting to identify who is who as well. So put a circle that's clear on your tape. And the measurables included, this is just in your Twitter, right? Contact info, this is just stats right here on your Twitter. From this recruiting execution, there's outreach implementation. So contacting the right coaches, sending them personalized emails there, and then there are some tactics right here, which camps you should go to, follow-up cadence, all that stuff, going to these visits. But none of this matters if this is wrong. Coaches recruit off film, and then if your film is great enough, they'll offer you. If you're on their board, they'll invite you to their camps. So making sure you go to the right camps. And I'll give you a real life example. I was in college. I've been to college camps before in high school, and I worked at college camp when I was in college. So what we have is we're given handheld cameras. We go to a camp. There's hundreds of people there. But coaches give you a list of exactly who I should film. So on this day, I have number 13. Film him right here the whole time. Follow him everywhere he goes. Coaches have a specific list of who they want. That's why if you don't get recruited to a camp personally by a coach and you've built a relationship with them, camps are a money grab. Camps don't develop you just because you're exposed in front of these coaches. They don't care about you unless you are recruited by them. And how do you get this recruited invite? Through the tape, through the first part. And finally, right here, target execution. You're going to target the schools that fit you. Real life example of me. Through some recruiting services, I visited schools like Georgia. I visited schools that were outside of my level at that time. Especially, I was a freshman. It was my first year playing. I'm going to Georgia. I'm going to Duke, Vanderbilt, all these schools. I even went to schools like NC State, all these big time schools. I thought if I get in front of these coaches, the exposure is what's going to get my face out there. But when I'm undersized, when I don't even fit the mold, this is just hurting me even more. This isn't doing anything. I'm just burning money at this point. Burning money, time, and energy. That's not what we want to do here. So making sure we have the right target scores, but the schematic fits, right? We got to play to our strength as well. Who's on the depth chart? Recruiting window timing, because there's dead periods. There's periods where coaches are on the road, so we got to take advantage of this. And here's the thing. Hoping that someone notices is not a strategy. We have to have a great recruiting execution, great plan right here. I'll give you a real life example. My guy Keaton right here. He had some offers beforehand. He had about 4. But his 2 latest schools were schools like Northern Arizona University and UTEP. And there's nothing wrong with those schools. Those are great. And he was a 0-star before. But after he had the right technique, we worked on his press technique, his break techniques. After we worked that, he put it on film. He put it on film and made the plays he was supposed to during the season. And then obviously he had a film study with the football IQ to help him execute these plays. And as a result of that, after the season, these were all the offers that he had. He had offers from all the schools you could even think of as a sophomore. This led him to become Max Prep Sophomore All-American. He had schools like Michigan, Miami, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Vandy, Texas, Oklahoma. I don't have to go down the line. You see the point though. It's because the film did the talking. And what did we do? Is we executed his highlight tape. We made intentional edits to his highlight tape. So what I did is I fixed his highlight tape to showcase his skill set, showcase his best play first. First of all, his highlight tape was about 5 minutes, I believe. And then all his interceptions was later down the tape. And that's the first thing I did. I clipped it where there's no dead space, where the sequencing, the pacing is fast. Coaches can see the best plays that he's made, the big hits, the TFLs, the interceptions. All of this, we strategically placed it in his highlight tape for his tape to speak for itself and become undeniable. And that's how we went from offers like UTEP and NAU to all these SEC Power 5 schools that you could think of. And me talking about these pillars, here's a part that should give you hope. All 3 problems are fixable. Every single one. Most overlooked DBs aren't getting passed because they can't play. They're getting passed over because nobody ever showed them what these coaches are actually looking for. And once you understand what they're looking for, you stop guessing and you start building structure. And I know you tried things already. You tried camps, paid hundreds and thousands of dollars, drove hours, flew planes even, paid for hotels just to get a few reps in front of these coaches who watch 50 other DBs. And then you go to these recruiting services here. You paid access to databases of emails and phone numbers, and they give you tactics like what the best time to reach out to these coaches, but nobody fixes your technique. None of this matters if your film doesn't speak volumes because it's all digital. And then we got right here your local trainers. I'm a trainer myself. Whether if it's athletic development, you get faster, stronger, more athletic. If it's position specific like what I do, you get the technique. But however, nobody breaks your film down frame by frame. When you go to these trainers, it's usually one-off sessions. You don't get the recording, you don't get the breakdown film by film, and coaches are seeing you live time, so they can't see if your technique was on par, if it just looked like a good rep. So that's the issue with local trainers. You're restricted to your geographical location. So if you live in Canada, good luck getting the best trainers. And also social media right here, watching YouTube videos, Instagram, TikTok. They're great. Lots of great information. I personally post out pre-game my full workouts with my SEC, D1, NFL guys. I post it full. No gatekeeping here. And you learn concepts, but you never have the implementation, and nobody corrected your execution. Going back to the recruiting service, they sell you hope packaged as access, right? Exposure without development is useless. And while all that's happening, clock is turning. So every month of your junior year passes, it matters. Every month of your senior season, it matters as well. Coaches today aren't recruiting long-term projects, like I said. They're recruiting plug and play and to win now. So if your tape doesn't show that, coaches go to the portal. So let me show you right here what happens when structure replaces guesswork. See, Yechezio came to me as a senior with 0 offers. He wasn't getting any buzz by any D1 schools. He didn't have anything going for him in terms of the recruiting. Now, he was a great player. He was good, but he wasn't getting the looks he deserved. So what we did is, first of all, we rebuilt this technique. We cleaned this film up so it's optimized, and we applied the same 3 pillars I just explained. We did the recruiting execution, outreach to these coaches. He eventually ended up on a D1 roster at UTSA. Now we got Max right here. He was already D1. He plays at University of San Diego. He wasn't getting as much reps as he wanted to. He didn't play the best as he wanted to. But after refining his mechanics and technique, after polishing his football IQ, he had his best performance in his career at University of San Diego. He had career high in interceptions, career high in pass breakups, and he's played the best he's ever played in D1. Finally, we got Jeremiah. He was a freshman on varsity in the DMV area. After we refined his technique, we built his football IQ, and we coached him up well, including fixing his highlight tape so he maximizes his film. He won Freshman of the Year, as well as became an all-conference DB as a freshman on varsity. And all these guys right here, these guys are on 5 stars. They're overlooked players who committed to structure. And that's why I built the Elite Bridge system to make it structured, repeatable, and scalable. So the Elite Bridge system is a 10-week one-on-one mentorship built around the 3 pillars. Pillar number 1 is technique. So we break down your initial film frame by frame, identify exactly what's helping you and what's hurting you. And you get weekly one-on-one calls, and you get a personalized drill plan based on your actual tape. In between sessions, you have asynchronous support, and you get feedback so you don't have to wait a whole week to improve. And what this does is you always know what to work on, and you're never left guessing. Now pillar 2 right here, we have the football IQ. So you learn how to think and play like a D1 DB. So we install pre-snap processing install so that you stop reacting and you start anticipating and making plays. And you don't just move fast, but you think fast as well. So we get your football IQ to become at that Division 1 level standard so you can make these game-changing plays. And we got 3 right here, recruiting execution. So once your film is clean because your technique is right and your football IQ is strong, we build a targeted recruiting plan. We identify the right schools, the right position coaches. We optimize your highlight tape for what coaches look for in the first 10 seconds. We're not doing mass emails, we're doing strategic execution built on undeniable film. And by the end of the 10 weeks, you don't just feel better, your tape is better, and tape is currency. So right here, structure replaces guesswork. So no more years of trial and error, no more trying to see if this is helping you or hurting you, no more burning thousands of dollars going to these camps that are useless and money grab, and you get exactly what you need. A lot of questions that I get is, can this be done online? The answer is yes. It's because technique and football IQ is not about just standing next to somebody blowing a whistle and getting coaching in person. It's about seeing what really happens frame by frame. Like I said, in person, you can't get that replay back, but in the classroom, of course you can. You might be thinking this is football, not the classroom, but that's how college football works. That's how the NFL works. At the D1 and NFL level, you spend more time in meeting rooms than on the field. So how a typical day goes is you go to breakfast, you sign in, you do your treatment, rehab, whatever, and then you go to special teams meeting. And after special teams meeting, you have team meeting, then unit meeting, then position meeting, and then you finally go on the field, do practice, lift weights, do rehab, all that. And then in the afternoon, you have meetings again and again and again. Same thing, position, unit, special teams, team meeting. So you spend more time in meeting rooms than on the actual field. So what we're doing is we're getting you ready for that structure to the next level. Another question I get is, we spent thousands of dollars already on recruiting services. How is this different? Like I said, exposure without development is a dead end. This is not a recruiting service. This is a developmental service. A recruiting service is a database. They give you emails, they give you phone numbers, they give you a template to email these coaches, they give you tactics. But if your film doesn't show you D1 level technique and D1 level play, no tactics is saving that. It's always tape over tactics. You can go to the Georgia camp with neon pink gloves and neon pink socks to stand out, but if your play doesn't show that, you're going to be another face in the crowd again. It's always development first, then the exposure compounded, not the other way around. Another question I get is it too late if I'm a senior? Now the recruiting window is even tighter for you and you don't have much time, but that's exactly why you need structure more than ever. Because of the transfer portal, coaches aren't looking for long-term projects. They're looking to plug and play and win now. So if your film proves you're ready, or if you do strategic stuff that could get you to be ready, then coaches will find you. If it doesn't, exposure won't save you. Another question I get is, how do I know if this is going to work for my situation? It's worked at different stages. Jeremiah was a freshman on varsity, made all conference and player of the year. Icheska was a senior in high school who had 0 offers, 0 buzz, but ended up making a D1 team. And we have Max, who was already at the Division 1 level, playing at the best he's ever had. And this is the same system, the same technique and everything that you get that I train with my NFL draft picks, my SEC guys, and my Power 5 guys across the whole nation. Another question I always get is, what about the price? A Division 1 scholarship is worth upwards of hundreds and thousands of dollars over the course of 4 years. And I know at schools like Tulane, it costs upwards of over $300,000 over the course of 4 years. And that's before NIL. Now players are getting upwards of hundreds and thousands to even millions of dollars this day and age. And I've seen how it changes people's lives. I've personally negotiated deals that value over $500,000. This is life-changing money we're talking. But I'm not here to sell you a dream. I sell development, which is why when guys are onboarded to work with me, I always give them the guarantee. If after the first session you don't see that this is a good fit, you don't feel like you got any value, there's no questions asked, full refund guaranteed. And another thing is, if you complete the program, you submit your film, you do all your work, and you don't see measurable progress by the end of the program, then I will continue to work with you for free until you do. And there's no time limit with that. And I built this because I needed this when I was coming up and nobody was giving it to me. I'm not interested in being another expense. I'm interested in being an investment that changes the trajectory of your life. Look, this is not for everyone. If you're looking for hypes or shortcuts or someone to email coaches on your behalf, this is not for you. But if you're a DB who feels like they're capable of more, who feels like something isn't clicking, and who wants someone to look at their film and tell them exactly what to fix, then this is for you. If that's you, there's a link below this video. It's the first link in the description, and go ahead and apply. It's going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to answer them honestly. After you apply, if it looks like a fit, we'll get on a call. I'll tell you exactly what you need to work on, and we'll figure out if working together makes sense or not. No pressure, I'm not chasing anyone, but if you're serious, you'll apply. If you're not sure, go back and watch some of my technique breakdowns on my YouTube channel that I post for free. Just see what you think of how I coach. But if your junior season is coming up or your senior season started already, the time doesn't wait for you. Every month of inaction is a month that's costing you. I was a 5'9" kid from South Korea who started playing late. No roadmap, but now I am the roadmap. You don't need more hype, you need structure. If you're ready to stop training blind and start training with structure, apply below. I'll see you soon.